Hi everyone, so today I'll be reviewing a Bath & Body Works candle. This is Spooky Moontini. This is a new fragrance for the Halloween 2024 collection. So the fragrance notes listed on this read Mystical Berry Potion, Spooktacular Spun Sugar, Spellbinding Citrus. Retail price is $26.95 and my particular batch code reads 4134M8DA. I purchased this while there was a $12.95 candle sale and I had a 20% off coupon, so I only paid around $10.36, which I feel like it is worth it. So first off, I really love this packaging. I think it's super cute. I love the dark, almost like navy blue mixed in with a little purple color. Really love it. Problem with this, I don't know if you can tell already. It's not too dark right now. It's still morning time. But if you can see, the light doesn't shine through and it doesn't illuminate this label, which I prefer a luminary style candle packaging, especially for Halloween. So it kind of, if you're familiar with crinkle, the 2-wick tumblers, if you burn those candles, it just looks like a black rectangle label and it doesn't illuminate. Maybe that's different for their 3-wick machine painted jars, but that's not the case for the 2-wick tumblers, at least the ones that I've burned. Anyways, so I just wish that, I think maybe that would have changed if the thickness of this label was thinner. All right, so let's talk about the wax pool. Oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous. Can you believe that this has been burning for less than an hour and it already has about an inch of a wax pool? Gorgeous, love it. I think that's one of the pros for this candle, is that it throws the scent immediately. I don't have to wait 15 minutes. Bam, I got my fragrance. All right, so here is the wax color when it is not liquefied, which I think is really pretty. And then it's like almost a black, very, very dark blue color. From far away, it does look a little bit black. So I think that's always awesome. It goes with the Halloween theme. I mean, do I associate blue with Halloween? Not so much, but I still like the color. It's very vibrant. All right, let's talk about the lid for a little bit. I really love the skull design. Here we go. And I love how symmetrical this is. So if you were to cut a line in the middle or fold this lid in half, which I wouldn't, it would be the same on the left side as the right side. I kind of twitched a little bit. Sorry about that. So yeah, really love this lid. Thankfully, it was included in the candle sale. But all right, let's talk about the fragrance. I have one right here that I'm currently smelling. And I want to say that there is a slight difference to the scent while burning versus on cold. So on cold, I get a lot of the berries first. They're very sugary berries, but they're very prevalent. They kind of take over the fragrance a little bit. If I had to say, it's a mixed berry scent. So it's not just strawberries, it's not just blueberries. I almost want to say I get a little bit of a grape, cherry, strawberry medley. It's really hard to pick out what berry kind of like breakdown there is in here. So it's definitely not just like strawberries, for example. That can be like one note. And then for the next note, spun sugar, this is like a sugar overload. So if you, oh, and spellbinding citrus. So with the citrus, I feel like that is toning it down a little bit, but I wouldn't go as far as to say that this smells sour. That's definitely not it. Maybe there's a little bit of a zing, or like a little bit of a slight like sprinkle of lemon or lime or something. Maybe I'd say like a tad bit of tart, but not as far as to saying like, ooh, you know, I smell bathroom cleaner, I smell Meyer lemons or anything. It's just like a little hint. Kind of, maybe I would say like lemon Skittles a little bit, but it's still predominantly sugar. But all right, so let's talk about the fragrance. I know a lot of people might argue saying that this isn't a Halloween scent. I personally do, because what do I think of when I think of Halloween? I immediately think, ooh, candy. And for me, the candy that I liked growing up wasn't really chocolate bar, wasn't really, you know, like Reese's Pieces and that. I would think the sour, the gummy type stuff. So I know that this isn't like damp, dark. It's not atmospheric. You don't think of a graveyard, you know, you can't smell like a rusty metal knife or blood. I get the correlation is what I'm trying to say. It's playing on that demographic that loves sugary, cutesy fragrances. It's very much that. And I think if you're not a fan of that, so for example, let me think of some fragrances. If you like them, you'll probably like this candle. So think of Enchanted Candy Potion, raspberries and whipped vanilla, cotton candy clouds, which used to be boardwalk taffy, whipped berry meringue. Those are kind of very similar. Even like Among the Clouds, love cotton candy champagne that came out during Christmas. So if you like any of those fragrances and you want that in-home fragrance, this is along the lines of that. Definitely don't buy this if you don't like your quintessential cutesy, youthful, juvenile, nostalgic fragrances of like sugar overload. You know, Candyland. While burning, I feel like this transforms more into that powdery sweetness. So the strength on cold, I would give it a solid 8 out of 10. Strength while burning, I would say it's also about an 8 out of 10. So in my category, that is like a pretty high medium. The caveat for me is that before it pulls out, I think the first burn, it took me obviously a lot longer. It took maybe about 45 minutes. Still within the hour, you should get like an even wax pull. But up until that point, I feel like it was more of like a 7. Yeah, more of a 7. And then I think at one point it hits a plateau. And I think that the powdery sugar note overtakes the berry note. So I feel like at that point, it's easier for me to go a little bit, not nose blind, because I constantly smell the candle in my medium-sized bedroom, but I feel like it's not in my face anymore. So while it is very sickeningly sweet, maybe to some, but not to me, I feel like I get a little bit like I can't smell it, or it's not as prevalent, you know, right in the front of my mind. I feel like that takes over instead of the berry note, whereas when I first light it up, I get more of that berry note. The performance. I think that if you are very vigilant with the candle care, that this candle is great. Why? Because this created such a deep wax pull in less than an hour. Check that out. That's already an inch. The only problem is that with these dark wax colors, they might tend to clog up the wick. So I think that's why that these utilize the rope thick like wicks. So the thing that I do differently with these candles with the thick rope-like wicks versus the one that just has like the skinny ones or anything is that I'm very particular, and I take more care when I trim them. So if there's a mushroom top, which this candle does create mushroom tops, especially the first maybe 4 or so burns. If you can see, I'm around the midway mark and I've burned this maybe like 8 or 9 times. So if you take too much, I feel like it's really easy for this candle to dud out. The problem with that is then you're playing this game of like, if I cut too little, then you might get some soot in the air. I have noticed it, maybe it was like burn 2 or 3, where I was trying to burn it longer than 3 hours. And then I thought, oh no, this is not going to work because the mushroom tops are starting to form and it was just not a good idea. So that's my suggestion for this type of candle with rope-like wicks. Also, another thing with candles with rope-like wicks, let me know if you do something differently, but I do not dip my wicks, or I don't do that swishing method to extinguish my wicks. I strictly blow the flames to turn them off. Why? Because again, the wick can get clogged up with the wax color and with the wax color. So I don't do that. But as far as that goes, I still have very healthy flames. If you could see, they're very like medium, and I feel like in my room, strength wise, I would say it's about anywhere from like a 7.5 to an 8. Does it fill up my medium-sized bedroom? Yes. Does it project and travel? Yes. However, just make a note that this is a sugary scent, right? So it's going to be a lot softer and sweeter than, let's say, what's another fragrance that recently came out? Roasted sesame. So that one also throws like a beast. It's really strong. However, that fragrance is heavier. So it's not going to be as light, you know, sugary fluffiness that this candle, the scent that this candle gives. But okay, I think I'm talking way too much about this candle. So let me compare it really quick to maybe 2 candle scents that I think a lot of people are bringing up when they bring up, what do you call it? Spooky Moontini. So first we have, I just took off the lid, if maybe that's the sound that you heard. Here we have Pink Fairy. Let me move my camera. Okay, here we have Pink Fairy Gumdrop. This is a candle that comes out during Christmas time. And you can see right here, fragrance notes were not a thing back in the day at the bottom. So I did use my sister's Dino label to create fragrance notes. So those are sparkling sugared berries, pink cotton candy, sprinkle of pixie dust. So it's very similar to the fragrance notes listed in Spooky Moontini. So I can see the similarities. Both of them have berries. So Spooky Moontini has mystical berry potion, whereas Pink Fairy Gumdrops has sparkling sugared berries. And then I would see the difference is that Spooky Moontini has spun sugar versus the Pink Fairy Gumdrop has cotton candy, pink cotton candy, if that even makes a difference. And also Pink Fairy Gumdrop has, what is it, sprinkle of pixie dust versus Spooky Moontini, which mentions spellbinding citrus. So what do I get when I smell Pink Fairy Gumdrop? And do I think it's the same? No, I don't think it's the same. Why? Because I think it's true that I get a little bit more of a berry prevalence in Spooky Moontini, whereas this one, Pink Fairy Gumdrop, it's lighter. It's a little bit lighter in the sense of it sits higher in, I think, like the top notes and stuff. There's not a lot of base notes besides just, sugary. But Pink Fairy Gumdrops reminds me a little bit more of like those sugary, like plastic doll heads. I feel like there's a little bit of that mixed into it. And I don't get any of of that citrus that's listed in Spooky Moontini. I feel like I'm forgetting the name. So do I think it's a repackage? No. Do I think they're different enough to get? Yes, just because Pink Fairy Gumdrop is lighter. And I like them, but I would say I would use them for different occasions. All right, next we have from a previous Halloween collection that did not come back. We have Enchanted Candy Potion. This one did have the fragrance notes. This is a tester candle. This one reads Spellbinding Sugar, Bewitched Berries, Whipped Pixie Dust. This is very, very similar to Spooky Moontini. I feel, though, that Bath & Body Works took the critiques. So a lot of people really loved Enchanted Candy Potion in the body care. However, I personally did not, and I feel like I got this medicinal note, almost like of a cherry prevalence, like artificially sweet scent from the body care. So that is why, or one of the reasons why I did not pick up the home fragrance. However, I believe that in the body care, it smells more of a syrupy medicinal cherry that I don't get in the home fragrance, which I'm so bummed. I should have gotten the candle, but that's besides the point. But I have the single wick. So in the candle form, one thing about it that a lot of people, like how I was saying earlier, that they critiqued is that this was really, really weak. And I think that Bath & Body Works tweaked this fragrance, so they amped up the berries in Enchanted Candy Potion. They added a little bit of that citrus, and then bam, you have Moonlit Martini. And I think that Moonlit Martini is a tweaked version of Enchanted Candy Potion. So I think they took that original base and they just amplified it a bit more, which I really like. Yeah, so these are pretty similar. So if you want a completely different fragrance, I would not purchase Moonlit Martini. However, if you really liked Enchanted Candy Potion in home fragrance and you wanted something more, so for example, from the reviews that I read and watched on YouTube, a lot of people said that this was a low throw. And Moonlit Martini is definitely a lot stronger, definitely in the medium category. So I think that this is a good reason to purchase it if you were disappointed with Enchanted Candy Potion but loved the fragrance. Do I think that they're the same? I would say no, just because it does feel like, Moonlit Martini is a better version of Enchanted Candy Potion. I like it more. I think there's a lot more of that berry prevalence. And I really like that there's like a little like zinginess from the citrus. Overall, I really love it. It is one of my higher maintenance candles just because of the rope like wick situation. So I did notice instances of soot. However, it was just during that second or third burn when I was really trying to push it onto my 4th hour. Let me go ahead, change the angle so you can see how it looks like from an overhead view. All right, so here is how it looks like. Very pretty. The flames are still a good medium. Crossing my fingers that it doesn't dud out, but so far I am like halfway there and I don't have any issues. So this candle does create mushroom tops, not in excessive amounts, but it does tend to do that thing where there's like little balls. So when I trim it, I either try to knock it off, or if I really want to be very precise, I get not my candle wick trimmer because I feel like that's a little bit too bulky, and I just get a finer pair of scissors and just like nip at it. So then it could easily be lit up, and I don't have to worry about, oh gosh, I took off like, instead of, like a bad haircut where like, oh, take off an inch, and then they take off like 4 inches and you're over there freaking out. You'll avoid situations like that with a sharper pair of scissors. Or I heard that some other people, they get like, like those big, TMI, big like toenail clippers, and they use it just exclusively for their candles. So you don't have to worry, and you can eyeball the length a little bit more. So yeah, that has been my experience with Moonlit Martini. Do I recommend this? Yes. However, if you want some groundbreaking scent that Bath & Body Works has never done before, this is definitely not the fragrance. If you love sugary sweet scents, I think this will be right up your alley. If you have Enchanted Candy Potion and you want a replacement, I think this is a good alternative. If you want the same exact fragrance, this kind of isn't it. And it isn't the same performance, at least from what I heard from the 3 wicks. No personal experience though. So yeah, that has been my review on this new Bath & Body Works fragrance for the Halloween 2024 collection. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I hope you have a great day. Okay, bye.